Like the slide in the very beginning here says, this is for AVer back to school learning, getting ready for fall 2020. Really what we want to do is take a look at what's going to happen, or how is a classroom going to look like when we all go back. And there we go. That's me. My name is Chuck Tuck. I am a product trainer and evangelist for AVer for the K through 12 segment. So here's that link that I put in on the chat room, and I have a link at the bottom, but this is from the CDC, so this is not anything that we promote or anything like that, but I just thought that it was kind of important to have in here just to kind of go over it briefly. So as it says, the guidance described below is based on the best available evidence at this time. So this guidance is really meant for a supplement and not as a rule book. So it's not to replace any state, local, territorial, or tribal health and safety rules and regulations which schools must comply with. So when all of us are ready to go back into the classroom, or however that's going to look, so some of the things that they want to make teachers and staff aware of is to make sure that you communicate and educate and reinforce appropriate hygiene and social distancing practices in ways that are developmentally appropriate for students, teachers, and staff. So what that means is that you want to be able to mitigate some strategies into the, as they say, the co-curricular and extracurricular activities, which means that if you have any activities that, you know, where the kids are all getting together really close, or you're having large meetings and things like that, their suggestion is to cancel those or to do them in a way where there is social distancing available. So some of the other things, of course, that we've always heard about is making sure that we our hygiene, especially hands. So hand sanitizers, washing hands with soap and water. I know some of the classrooms will have sinks and things like that in the back of the room. We might be back there washing our hands, but sometimes we might forget that we're also touching the faucet. So part of the practice is keeping the surface area clean, and that even goes for, you know, wiping down the handles and things like that, or the spigots and faucets and everything. So that goes along with, like it says, maintain a healthy environment by cleaning and disinfecting frequently touched surfaces. So there you go at that. Again, a lot of this stuff is things that we've heard over and over and over, and it really boils down to the common sense of just keeping things clean and tidy, and as the CDC would say, your social distancing as well. So part of the other thing is, you know, they talk about wearing a cloth face mask to cover your nose and your mouth. So again, this is nothing that we enforce or promote, but this is just something that I thought I would put out there for all of us to look at. So what will schools look like when we're all going back to the classroom? Well, maybe not to the classroom. As you see in the upper left-hand corner on this slide, it shows a student at home at a table, and you can see that they're looking at a laptop, and that laptop has perhaps a live, or maybe it's a pre-recorded video of a teacher giving an instruction to the student. So you have to make sure, of course, on your end that the students are going to comply with whatever amount of time that they have to put in for watching you live or watching videos or doing the homework. Now, some of the teachers may end up in a situation where it shows on the right-hand side of the slide where students are there wearing masks as well as the teachers wearing a mask. And you can see that the desks are not as close to each other as normal. And there may be fewer students. That's because you might have that situation where half of the class is in the classroom today, the other part of the class is at home, and then they come in the next day. Or it's 50% of the class is in school, the other 50% are watching online, and the instructor has a video camera or some sort taping them for distance learning. And another situation that you might have is in the bottom image where you see all the X's on the desk and there are absolutely no students, but there's one person, that teacher. So you may be in a situation where you're actually in your own classroom presenting to nobody except for the camera, and all your students are at home watching. So there's going to be a number of different ways that teaching is going to take place when you all get back into the classroom. And you might be looking and saying, well, I see some AVer products there. Well, yes, document cameras and our professional camera are going to be two products that you're definitely going to want to have or use. So more than ever, technology will play an increasingly important role in teaching and learning. So traditional methods of teaching in front of a classroom may not be the norm, or at least not for the foreseeable future. But it doesn't mean that you cannot read from or teach from a textbook or use a pencil and paper to get your point across. So really, right now, there's no better time than to use an AVer document camera to project, copy, record, or even to use as a webcam for distance learning. So I'm sure that a lot of you out there watching and listening right now, we all used to joke about the document camera just being a simple overhead projector or a document viewer. You know, we're saying, well, all I do is put a piece of paper down. Well, honestly, get ready to use those doc cams as a basic but necessary tool. And as I mentioned above, the AVer doc cam has many uses, and some of which are being used right now by teachers to create distance learning content by using the built-in recording feature of the M11-8M. So if you have not seen this document camera, it's a very, very small, it's a compact, versatile, and ready to go document camera. And what we mean by ready to go is in the environment that we're in right now, we don't know if one day you're going to be in the classroom or next day you're going to be at home or you're going to be someplace else. Maybe you're at home, you're going to be in the bedroom, you're going to be in the kitchen, you're going to be in your living room. You're going to want to be mobile and portable. So this particular document camera, a couple of the great things about this. One is power management. And what do I mean by that? Well, there's no power brick, no cables. It's actually powered by the USB cable. So that's part of what makes this really portable and kind of unique in a way. But just that portability and the power being used through the USB cable. It does have an HDMI out. And the reason that you have an HDMI out on this is a couple of things. So with the HDMI out and you have that connected to your, say, an HDMI TV or some sort of monitor, you can see exactly what the students or what the folks on the other end are seeing. And sometimes it throws us as instructors off if we don't see what we're doing and we're just going through the motions, but we don't see the faces, so we don't know if we're really connecting. So we have to go, well, what does it look like that I'm doing? So connecting the HDMI out is going to allow you to see exactly what the students are seeing on their end. Now that USB power and that USB cable, that's going to allow you to use this document camera as a webcam if you want to do that. It also will work with our AVer touch software and our Sphere 2 software as well. But I also mentioned that some teachers are using this for more than just a document camera or to use with software. Some of us may not want to use software or anything like that, but we want to be able to record videos and we want to do it really fast, really quick. The M11-8M document camera actually has a built-in microphone, and you're able to connect either an SD card, a mini SD, or a USB thumb drive, and then you can record directly to that thumb drive or to that SD card without the use of your computer or any software. So that a lot of teachers that we have heard that have used this document camera, it is brand new, but we have it out there. They have said that they really like that because now they could just have it connected to their monitor. You have the USB thumb drive connected in back, just press the button, then they record. That's where that basic part comes down. You have your textbook or sheet of paper down, and they're just talking, going through the motions and recording the video. And once they're done with that video, they just take that thumb drive, plug it into their computer, and then they just upload it to one of the YouTube sites or however or wherever you have your learning management system set up. Something else here is the compact design of the document camera itself. So it is only 5 inches at the base and 12 inches in height. So that's really compact. It does have a 180-degree swivel head. So again, That's if you're really in a limited space and you put down a sheet of paper, but you can't angle it just right because it's showing it horizontally and you need it vertically, where you can adjust that rotating head and you can, straighten out your sheet of paper or whatever, your book. Hopefully that's making sense here. Let's see. Do we have any chat room stuff coming up? Remember, if you have any questions, go ahead and type those in there, and Grant and Aiden will be able to help you with that. Now, the other product that we have, which is new, that will be something that's going to be very important for the upcoming school year, and it's the remote hybrid classroom setup, as we call it, and it's using our professional camera. It's the TR310. It is another new product of ours. So this is really geared towards that distance learning. And this product also has a USB connection, which can be used as a webcam if you want to use it as that. It does have that HDMI connectivity. And once again, that's so you can see exactly what you are doing so that you know exactly what the students see on the other end. A couple of the really nice things about this is it does have auto tracking, and it has two different types of auto tracking. We like to refer to as like an artificial intelligence or AI intelligent tracking. And I'll go over that just briefly in just a moment. It is also 10 times optical zoom. So in a situation where you're in a classroom and if you have a poster board set up with some reading materials, you don't want to move the camera, but that 10 times optical zoom can really zoom in there, and it is very, very clear. Now, all of the stuff that I'm talking about as far as the TR310 and the M11-8M document camera, we do have some helpful tips and training videos already on our website. So I'll make sure at the end that I give you our website address and you'll want to go there. Now, just moving on with that TR310. So PoE, what that means, it is powered over Ethernet. So again, we've gone to the situation where you don't have to have an additional power brick cable plugged in. So that's really handy in a situation where if you're going to have this ceiling mounted in a classroom that's going to be in a permanent place and you don't have any other cables hanging from the ceiling, or that you don't have to either run through the ceiling. And it, of course, comes with our 3-year warranty. So this is how the camera is going to be set up, your traditional way. As I said, you have your ceiling mounted option, and that's where the PoE, power over Ethernet, is going to come into play. Or if you have this where you need to share from one classroom to the next and you don't want to permanently mount it, using a tripod is a really good way of doing this as well. So that's, of course, if you're going to be using a tripod, you can plug it in so you can have the power run into the camera from there. Now, setting it up on a tripod, you'll want to have this thing probably about a height of 6 feet. So just keep that in mind. Now, the other connection is the USB. So the USB is actually what's going to carry the video signal. So the USB is going to be plugged into your laptop or your desktop, and then that's when you're going to run either Zoom or Google Meets or Teams or Schoology or something like that. So keep in mind, though, that the TR310 does not have a built-in microphone. It does have a 3.5 millimeter microphone input jack, or you can use the microphone that's built into your laptop, or use a USB microphone such as I'm doing right now to capture the audio. So again, with these products, the camera, the document camera, the professional pan tilt zoom PTZ camera, the TR310, all of this stuff could be run from the Zoom platform, and you could go back and forth from them. I might show you that towards the end. I haven't decided, since I haven't really cleaned up my my workspace. So here again, just a little bit about the TR310. It just says that the PTZ stands for pan tilt zoom. You can stream this, so you could do live streaming as well. It is full HD, 1080p at 60 frames per second, and all that really means is that it has smooth movement, so it's not really jittery or anything like that. Something else that you see here where it says HDMI, USB output, and then you see IP. So here's what the nice thing about this camera is, that you don't have to have software to run it. It's IP based. So what that means is when you plug in your camera, you just bring up your Chrome browser, and then from there, you just type in the IP address of the camera itself, and then that's it. Again, no software needed. So once you do that, you can have up to 256 presets. So we like to say set it and forget it. So literally set up all these presets and that's it. Or because it is a tracking camera, it's tracking your movement. It tracks everywhere you go. And literally, when you plug this thing in, it finds that body, that yourself in the image, and it locks right onto you. You do have an image or option of doing a half body tracking or a full body. That really just comes down to say the half body is good if you're going to be in a classroom full of kids, or if you're going to be in an auditorium where there's going to be heads at maybe waist height. So that's why you want to do the half body. So it'll just be able to figure out and track just the half body. So, and as it shows, it integrates well with Visca and other room control systems like from Crestron or Extron. People tracking. So with the people tracking, which says click to track, again, so it recognizes yourself as the main person, but if a second or third person comes into the frame of view, you do have an option of clicking simply with your remote control, just one button click to change over to the next person. So I'm just going to quickly go over some of the reasons of why you may want this particular camera. A big reason here is that it does auto tracking without the lanyard. So there's oftentimes a lot of these cameras out there, you have to have another piece of equipment, a lanyard that you either have to wear or carry with yourself. And what does that mean? Well, that has to be powered, whether it's through battery or through USB. Me, sometimes I misplace things and then I can't find the lanyard. So that's why having this particular TR310 is really nice, because you don't have to worry about having a lanyard or a second piece just to make it work properly. And as I mentioned, we have that set it and forget it. And it says it just works. It really just works. You turn it on, it'll recognize you, recognize the body in that room, and then it'll just start tracking you. That 10 times optical zoom is fantastic. 256 presets, but there's just a lot of things for me to read through here. And I did say that, you know, there's no software needed. However, if you want to use software, there is software that's available. And that allows you to do your annotation and recording as well. So here again, just a little bit on that auto tracking. As it says, the TR310 is redefining how people capture content. So another way to think about this is a couple ways. Is if you have this camera and if you're one of the instructors that has to be in your classroom by yourself and there's nobody else there to either control, man the camera, or you're not teaching to any students. Well, you're trying to think, well, how am I going to control the camera and teach at the same time? This will do it for you. Again, it's auto tracking. It just tracks you, and so you don't have to worry. And it, again, the second one, it talks about the different tracking modes. So you have the zone tracking. Zone tracking is good for this particular situation where you might have a flat panel that you want to teach from. So that might be your zone one. So if you walk over to zone one, the camera's going to automatically go to that zone one. Now you have to pre-designate what the zones are. So again, your zone one may be your flat panel. Your zone two might be a workstation that you have set up if you're a science teacher and you want to go to the Bunsen burners and you want to show some science projects there. You walk over to zone two, camera tracks, goes right to zone two, and now it shows whatever that you want to show in zone two. And again, zone two, zone three, zone four. So it's very simple, very easy to set up. Now, as far as that software stuff goes that I kind of mentioned on, the software, if you want to use it, is free, and it's called the Easy Live, and it does work with Windows and Mac. And as I mentioned, it does go with annotation, recording the video. It allows you to do live streaming. You can capture images, a number of different things. Now, we also have a PTZ management for lack of words or terms, it's not software because once again, this is an IP base. So you bring up your Chrome browser and type in the URL, but from there you can control up to 128 cameras. So the benefit of that would be in a situation where a school may have 5, 10, 15, 20 of these cameras in different classrooms or different locations. You can have one IT person man this. They could turn them all on, they could turn them off, they could select and choose what they want to turn on, turn off. They can have control of the camera if they want to set up presets. They can do anything they want. Or it's just a matter of teachers just arrive into the classroom and the IT person or the main person that's manning the management software just turns on all the cameras and it's just ready to go. So a couple of different options, several different ways that you can actually work all these cameras. As I promised, it was going to be as short as possible. And so we are at the end of the slide. I know this was very quick and I know it was just kind of basic, but really the bottom line is that I want the takeaway from this, guys, is that the document cameras that you have are AVer document cameras. They might be sitting in your closet, but now's the time to bring them out because we constantly hear about, well, content. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? How am I going to teach? How am I going to do this from home? Your document cameras, whether you have ours that's all set up and ready to use as a recorder without software, or if you have one of our other document cameras and you're going to use our Sphere 2 software, you can record video. So when you record video, you're creating content. And it's, again, it's just as simple or as easy as putting down a sheet of paper and you're recording. That's it. It's as easy as that. And once you do that, you can upload that to your YouTube site. So just if you have the document cameras, bring them out to use them. If you have an interest in these new ones, like I said, the M11-8M or our professional PTZ camera, the TR310, come to our website. So if you're not following us on social media, please follow us. We're on LinkedIn, we are on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Please follow us and make comments and stuff like that. With that being said, I think that was it. Hopefully it was painless. I don't really see anything else coming in here for questions. Oh, there is something, it may have been answered. Select mirror image. Yep, somebody answered that. Here's one thing that I want to say real quick. I know some of us, or if we have or haven't used, so if you're using a document camera and say you're using Zoom and you're doing your lesson plans, to you it's going to look backwards, but to the students, to the kids, and the people on the other end, it's going to come out the right direction. Now, if you're saying that's confusing for you, you can actually go into your settings. So if we're using Zoom, down at the bottom row of icons, it has a picture of a video camera. You click on that and it brings up like a drop-down menu. You go to video settings, and in video settings itself, you're going to see where it says mirror my video. So all you do is click on that, then it's going to flip it and it's going to show you the right way. So one thing, just as a caution, some of us might think, well, I know like Microsoft Teams, I do not believe that they have that mirror capability yet. But if you're thinking that you might use a third-party software to mirror the image for you, don't do it, because what will happen is now it'll be correct for you, but it'll be reversed on the other end for the students. So just be careful of that. That's it. And Mark, I will get the information for you before the end of today, probably within an hour or so. Folks, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. And again, best of everything to all of you out there when you go back into the classroom, and please stay safe. So long.